Let's do some examples in change in percent. Percent change describes how much quantity has changed relative to its original amount. Percent change can be an increase or a decrease. The percent change equation is percent equals the new amount minus the original amount divided by the original amount times 100. Let's do some examples in change in percent. Percent change describes how much quantity has changed relative to its original amount. Percent change can be an increase or a decrease. The percent change equation is the percent equals the new amount minus the original amount divided by the original amount times 100. Taylor's baseball team won 8 games last month and 10 games this month. What was the percent change in games the team won? Was it an increase or a decrease? So I want you to look at the two numbers, the 8 and the 10, and I want you to think to yourself, did the number increase or did it decrease? Because that helps answer the second question of was it an increase or a decrease? Now let's figure out the percent. Since the percent is equal to the new amount, which is 10, minus the original amount, which is 8, divided by the original amount, which is 8, we're going to fill all that in to get our equation, which looks like this. So make sure you copy this down so that you can write it with me. First, we're going to solve the fraction. And we're going to do the numerator first, which is 10 minus 8. 10 minus 8 is 2. We're going to continue with the fraction and we're going to divide 2 divided by 8, which is 25 hundredths. Now let's multiply it by 100. By multiplying it by 100, we turn the decimal into a percent. We're going to move the decimal over 2 times to the right to make it 25%. Taylor's baseball team had an increase of 25%. They're doing a great job. On Sunday, a museum had 260 visitors. On Monday, the same museum had 150 visitors. What was the percent change in visitors? Was it an increase or a decrease? So again, look at your two numbers and see if the number went up for an increase or if it went down for a decrease. And that helps you answer the second question. Now let's fill in our equation. The new amount is 150. The original amount is 260. So we're going to divide by 260. Make sure that you write your equation so you can follow along. Again, we're going to solve our fraction. So let's start with our subtraction problem. 150 minus 260 is going to be a negative number because I'm taking away more than what I already have. So my answer is negative 110. Now let's divide the fraction. Because I'm dividing a negative and a positive, I'm going to get a negative answer. And I get a super long number. Now, because this is a percentage question, I only need 3 decimal places. 1, 2, 3. And that way I can make that a percentage. So go ahead and write negative 423 thousandths times 100. By multiplying by 100, we turn the decimal into a percent. We can also just move the decimal 2 places over to the right, and it'll be a percentage. So it's negative 42.3%. Now I want to round that because it was a decimal and I'm estimating anyway. So that 3 is telling the 42 to stay as a 42 because the 3 is below 4. 4 and below, let it go. So it's negative 42%. Now you see that negative? That means that it was a decrease. The museum had a 42% decrease.